Welcome back, YouTube, to another episode here at WILDMAN Lifts. I'm your host, WILDMAN. Now on today's episode, I'm very excited because I was able to do the deadlift today, and I did not think it was going to go very well because I was feeling a little lethargic in my movements as I was going up in weight today. And also I've been feeling a lot of fatigue like in my hamstrings and my posterior chain. So I wasn't sure if I was gonna hit my goal today or not, but fortunately I did. And while I'm going through today's giant set format, I'm also gonna be explaining the difference between deadlifts from the ground and also why the second rep and third rep is often a lot easier on the deadlift than it is for the first. So let's pop into today's workout. Let's see what we got going on. Now for the strength giant set, like I said, I'm gonna be doing the deadlifts. And the idea is to work up to a 3-rep max. And I'm gonna start with 3 reps in the beginning, do 1 rep, and then 3-rep max at the top. And then in between, I'm gonna just flip this stone over my shoulder just to kind of warm up my explosive muscles. And I'm gonna run back and forth across the bullpen like this 3 times because that measures to be 100 meters. So this is a 100-meter shuttle run just to try to get my hips and legs warm as I go up in weight on the deadlift. And that's going to be the strength giant set for the day. Now what kind of separates the deadlift from the rest of the compound movements is in its name, the deadlift. Pretty much you're lifting that bar at a dead stop. Comparative to a back squat, you get under the bar underneath the squat rack, and then you're able to start at the top of the movement, eccentrically brace and lower yourself down to depth, and then explode back up. So that makes it a lot easier to do because that eccentric portion actually winds you up kind of like a spring. Same thing with the bench press. When you get it out of the rack and you are bracing and then lowering it down to your chest, you're essentially making yourself into a giant springboard. That makes it a lot easier to press back up. However, with the deadlift, not so much because it's on the ground and you don't get that eccentric portion. So the hardest part about the deadlift is the first rep, because you'll see a lot of people struggle to get their first rep, but once they're at the top and then they go for a second rep, now they're able to eccentrically lower that bar and become a springboard like the other compound movements. And then they can just lightly tap the floor. And since that bar is bending from a lot of weight at the ends of it, it makes it so that the weights touch the ground and decrease the range of motion comparative to the dead stop. And on this particular day, I was really struggling from the floor. This was kind of showing me because I used to be able to do a 1-rep max deadlift easier than my second and third reps, mainly because I've been practicing so much pulling from the floor because I had to switch from the mixed grip to straps. And that really threw me off because I couldn't get my brace at the top like I was used to with a mixed grip. So with the straps, I had to learn how to start from the bottom, and I was very weak off the floor. So I did drills after drills of what I call single deadlift format, which is completely letting go of my brace at the very bottom and resetting after every single rep, and not letting myself get to the top, and then eccentrically lower myself down for that second, third, fourth, and fifth rep. Although it is a good idea to train both, you should definitely train both aspects of the deadlift, both the speed off the floor and also repping it out. But sometimes if one is better than the other, then you need to focus in that case. And on this day, I was really feeling it from the floor. And this kind of told me that I need to do more single deadlift formats because once I get to the top, I was a-okay. Now I'm coming up to my top set, and this is 455 pounds. And I was really struggling with those first reps all the way up, so I actually didn't know if this was gonna go. And it did go very slow, and I wasn't really proud of that first rep. And I just got so mad that I was like, well, whatever, I'm just gonna rep it out. Because again, doing the second and third rep is a whole lot easier than doing that first rep. So I just kind of sucked it up and was able to grind out 3 more reps, which was perfect. That's what I wanted to do. I thought it would go a lot easier, but I'm just glad I did it because I looked at my notes and I don't recall ever doing 455 for 3 reps. So that's actually quite an accomplishment today. So I'll take that, I guess. And an explanation as to why that was moving slow is I'm feeling a little sick right now. So that could be what was holding me back. Alrighty, so as you can see, that went up and I was able to hit my goal. So I was very happy with that, regardless of how I was feeling today. So I'm very pleased with myself, and now I can continue on with the workout. So let's pop in and finish the rest of this workout nice and strong while we have a beautiful day ahead of us. Now for the variation giant set, I was just doing about 2 rounds, and I just really wanted to do that single deadlift format like I was discussing earlier. I mainly just want to practice getting speed off the floor and doing very low weight but higher volume, just to try to make sure that I'm getting that in. And from now on, I'll be training more single deadlift format. And I continued with that stone over the shoulder and the running back and forth of the bullpen. And for the assistance giant set, I decided because the stones were out there and I haven't lifted those heavy stones in a while that I was going to do that. So I was going to work up to a 1 rep max stone to shoulder, starting off with the buffalo stone and then moving over into the ox stone and then working my way up to that rhino stone, just to kind of make sure I'm keeping that in my wheelhouse and I'm not laxing in that area, because stones are very important to strongman and they do carry over into practical strength. But as I was going up in that weight on those stones, I was also doing some ab mat sit-ups because I had worked my posterior chain and now I want to attack the anterior chain with these weighted ab mat sit-ups. And I continued to run as well, but I kind of increased the distance a little bit because I wanted to make sure that I reached a mile total by the time I was done with this workout. And honestly, who wouldn't want to run on a gorgeous day like this? It was just absolutely beautiful today. So definitely extending that run was a good move. Now for the accessory giant set, I was doing 3 rounds. And I just wanted to finish off my bicep by doing those supination curls with that heavy kettlebell, just to kind of finish off the biceps from all the heavy work I was doing already. And I was also doing hitchhikers because you know me, I love shoulder longevity and shoulder health, so I do these for that. And then for the third movement, I just kind of got creative. I've done this before. I just started putting my weights away because I was very tired. I was fatigued. So doing kind of these like 10-meter loaded carry medley as I'm done at the very end of the workout is kind of a workout in of itself. And that was the total workout for the day. All right, so that's going to conclude it for today's workout. I got to get showered and head to work now. So I'm going to leave you here. I really appreciate everybody stopping by, hanging out with me, watching myself torture myself. I'll see you next time. Thank you.